Let's keep talking about all of this. Phones, whether it's buying Android phones or iPhones or any phone, buying is indeed a part of life. But why we buy what we buy is a question one of the world's foremost branding experts is still trying to answer. Right now, we're joined by one of the world's most foremost branding experts, as we just said. He's still trying to answer that ultimate marketing question. Why do we buy what we buy? He's Martin Lindstrom, CEO and chairman of Lindstrom Company and the 2009 recipient of Time Magazine's World's 100 Most Influential People. His new book is Buyology, It's Truth and Lies About Why We Buy. It's a New York Times and Wall Street Journal bestseller. He's at the World Business Forum in New York City. So we were just talking about the different phone brands, Martin. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's continue to talk about that, because I think you have some iconic brands when you're talking about smartphones in particular. And talking about Apple, you actually did a study on brand loyalty when it comes to Apple. What did you find out?
Well, what we did was to scan 2,000 consumers' brains using something called fMRI, which is a really advanced science-based technology. And what we learned was there is a very strong correlation between brands like Apple's and Harley-Davidson and religion like the faith of Christianity. In fact, almost the same regions in the brain were activated. And this is the first time we actually are seeing that powerful brands are much more than just products. In fact, we buy into a belief system, and Apple has been incredibly good at maintaining that, where brands like BlackBerry, for that sake, are not really doing it very well, trusting and building that trust from religion into the brand strategy.
So for people who are trying to convince consumers to buy their particular product, how do you tap into something like that?
Well, the most important thing you should do is to understand what really creates a powerful religion. And what we learned from this Buyology study, as we call it, was that there is 10 pillars or 10 ingredients, which each of them are forming a religion. It could be mystery, it could be a strong enemy, it could be sensory appeal, or it could be rituals. And what's really fascinating with Apple is they actually can tick all of those 10 boxes. Just think about it. It's truly sensory. It's the iPods, the iTouch. It's all about the tactile sensation and the visual sensation. They even have their own ritual. You know, today I saw a little baby which was starting up the BlackBerry, and the baby did this one here because they thought it was an Apple. So the ritual of starting up this whole handheld device is integrated into our whole system of how we navigate. They have ticked all the boxes, and what you should do as a brand owner is to look through those boxes and say, how can we systematically adapt that into our brand strategy?
And I'm curious, you know, when you talk about the new world, if you will, and smartphones falls into that category, the internet falls into that category, how do you more effectively target people through these new ways of reaching the public?
Well, I think we should learn from the world of gaming. You know, gaming manufacturer, in particular in Japan, works with what they call an iterative system. An iterative system is where you basically take 2 steps ahead, then you take 1 step back because you learn from people, and then you go 2 steps ahead. So it's like this type of funny curve. And what they do is they engage consumers along the way. So they have a small development group of 5,000 people, then the next group is 10,000 people, and suddenly they have 100,000 people, and they work with you to enhance the product and make it powerful. But the most important aspect of this is that they also buy into this philosophy, and later on they spread the news as the brand is released. And that's exactly what brands should do right now to create some sort of buy-in among its consumers.
All right, buying as religion. Thanks so much, Martin Lindstrom, author of Buyology. He's at the World Business Forum. He's set to speak in just about a half hour.